Good evening and welcome to Packers Across the Pond podcast. This is your number one podcast for all things Green Bay, brought to you by the Across the Pond Sports Network. Tonight, it is myself, John, with my co-host, Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Cheeseheads.
And we shall be talking, as you can see on the cheese board tonight, it is Meet Us, because this is our brand new podcast. This is the very first episode, and we hope that you absolutely love it and enjoy it as much as we will. We will also be talking about the Packers draft. There were 6 lovely, delicious picks, and we'll have a quick snapshot of the undrafted free agency, and we'll have a quick chat about the post-draft mini camp with a couple of little thoughts and feelings outside of that. But first of all, we shall introduce ourselves. Chris, would you like to do the honours?
Yeah, no problem. Hello, everyone. My name's Chris. I'm from Sheffield in South Yorkshire. I'm 37 years old. Been a Packers fan since 2011. It's a strange story, really. I was watching them on, I think it was BBC, and of course the QB back then was Aaron Rodgers, and my father's name was Roger, but it was spelled in the way of Rodger. So that kind of just sold it for me, really. And then from there, the green and gold has taken over my life. I've learnt all about the franchise, learnt all about the players and the drafts, and the way the green and gold has taken over people's lives, not just in America, but also around the world. Fun few facts about myself. I've been to the 2019 NFL draft, which was in Nashville, Tennessee. Honestly, one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. I think since 2011 to 2019, I was always in and out of it. But from then on the 2019 draft, the NFL as a whole has taken over my life. And as Green Bay does, that's also taken over my life as well. Throughout the years, various favourite players, Jordy Nelson, as you can imagine, but I think the one player who really sold me the green and gold was Clay Matthews. His passion, his fight, his never give up attitude was really commanding for me in a sense. So he's always been the one player who I fell in love with. He's actually the first jersey that I ever got, and from there, the suspect jerseys that I've had have involved Clinton Dix, and who else was it? I think I got a Josh Jackson one as well, because obviously them two didn't turn out. I'm probably never going to get a cornerback on the back of my shirt again, because they don't seem to work. But right now in this current era, I'm all Green Bay. I went to the London games when they came. It was quite funny. Before that, I went to 4 London games before that, and I never saw a touchdown in my area. And then at the first time we scored, it happened, and just a great moment. I have 2 daughters, and they are 3 years and 7 months, and they both have jerseys, and yeah, it's taken over my life. My passion was always football, but now it's NFL. I'd rather watch, I hate to say it, but a Browns Giants game than watch Leeds Burnley, for instance. I don't think anyone wants to watch Leeds Burnley, but it's just any time there's a game on, I'll watch it. So yeah, right now I still bleed green and gold. My favourite player at the moment is Christian Watson. I think he's unbelievable, bar injury. So yeah, that's me. Jonathan, what about yourself, mate?
Let's switch this over. Hi, my name is John. Um, I've been a Packers fan unofficially since about 1997, officially since about 2010. Um, One of the first things that I ever did with American football was watching the Green Bay versus Broncos Super Bowl. That didn't end exactly the way which we wanted. However, my cousin is a Broncos fan, and we have always had a friendly rivalry as such. So he was supporting those lovely Mile High boys, and I would support Green Bay. I was then on and off about American football until about 2010, and that was when was started watching the playoffs properly, with the run all the way through until the NFC Championship game, which unfortunately we didn't win. And then from there was just absolutely obsessed. It helped that in 2012 I moved to Canada for a couple of years, and it was really easy to watch the games when you're in the same time zone and not having to stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning watching channel 4 or 5, depending on which channel it was on, and you'd be able to watch more games. Being able to go to the bars and actually getting involved with the people there and actually sitting down and chatting and talking all of the intimate details about everything going on was purely amazing, and I've not stopped since. I would say that my favorite players, again, Clay Matthews. God, I love that enthusiasm. Always a big fan of David Bakhtiari, and I would definitely say that, crazily enough, my favorite play that has ever existed beyond all of the Hail Marys was that BJ Raji interception against the Bears to put us through to the Super Bowl. I love that. I could watch that so many times a day and just feel giddy inside, knowing that that man just made the Bears fans cry. So many tears. And yeah, ever since then, just have been watching as many games as I possibly can, as well as just consuming as much Packers football in general. And that's led us to here, where we've been both kindly invited to join the Across the Pond network. And we have, I believe we're going to be trying to get all 32 teams involved with this. So if you're not a Packers fan, or if you're not even an NFC North fan, then you've got plenty of other options. And we hope to be doing a lot of cross-platforming as well, where we can join other podcasts, other videos, and hopefully just build up a brilliant 32 team wide network. And apparently you can also watch some Baltimore Orioles baseball as well. They've got one of those in too. And apart from that, just really hope to be having some really lovely conversations with Chris about as much Packers stuff as possible, because we're both pretty sure that our friends and family are far too annoyed with us just obsessing over this team, and would rather vent it to other people who are also just as equally obsessed.
Yeah, I think, John, just to add on that, mate, I think it's just I listen to other podcasts, and obviously when the season comes along, I basically talk to myself in the car, or and when something amazing happens on a Sunday night, I don't have many other people to talk to. Well, like my best mate's a Bears fan, which I hate him for. My other mate's a Patriots fan. I've got Dolphins fans, but when it comes to your own team, it's quite difficult to talk to people about it. And I think this is just a very good platform. And as you said, we will be working with other podcasts in here. There may be a Ravens podcast across the Pond network, and we may have joint shows where we can honestly talk about NFL as a whole. And I think that's why this is such a good platform. And don't get me wrong, you'll probably say this yourself, John. We aren't the most. We are new to this. We are learning every show. We are learning the right things to do, the wrong things to do. But this is the start of our journey, and we want people to come and join us, give us advice, and if you want to appear in a few, we'd obviously be more than welcome, because the more opinions, the more views, the more meat we have, it just gives a better outlook to the Green Bay Packers, and maybe promote that again more in the UK, because the bigger fan base we can have, the better it is all round.
Yeah, 100%. I could not agree more. Variety is, in fact, the spice of life. I also do like cinnamon and oregano, which is, I guess, more of a herb. But yeah, we would love to have any kind of constructive criticism or any kind of criticism, to be honest, because we are
It
very
means you're
new.
watching, and it means you're watching.
Any engagement is good engagement. And yeah, just as a side note, we would like to thank Tom, who has been helping us out with all of this. You can find him on the Ravens Across the Pond podcast and that side of the network. That's where all of this basically started over the last few years. And he, after talking to him for a couple of times, you can clearly see he's got a passion for it, and we want to be able to help out with that passion as much as we can. Um, and yeah, without further ado, let's go into, because I think you've heard enough about us talking about ourselves, to the Packers draft. It was, let's be honest, not a sexy draft. There wasn't any big time players. There wasn't any, oh my God, moments. But what we did get, I would want to say, is almost exactly what we needed. Not quite. Um, so, first of all, we will have a little discussion about what we actually thought was needed before we go into our draft picks. Chris, I'll fire to you first. Couple of
Yeah.
answers. I mean,
Mm.
I both of us can probably say 100% we needed cornerback.
Yeah, 100%. It was a room that worried me last season in terms of talent, in terms of um, numbers in that room, and if you look at the other teams around the league, they had a better standard of cornerback, to be honest. So it wasn't a
Yeah,
room I was always confident in. It's, for instance, you had Valentine who tried being dropped multiple times, but because of injuries, he ended up coming back in, and just little things. It hadn't been a strong room for a while since we lost peak Jair Alexander. Because his
yeah.
injuries hadn't been the same. So, yeah, definitely an area we needed to improve.
Yeah, and I would say it was an absolute shame that Jair didn't pan out as much as he did, especially after the injuries, because he was an absolute stud the first few seasons. Like, no one wanted to pass his way. Absolutely no one wanted to pass his way. And I think outside of him, there hasn't really been any big notable names in the last like 5 or 6 years that have even come through. We've had some, I mean, what we had Nate Hobbs.
Yeah, but we also had Kevin King, who started off well, and obviously he got done
Yeah,
in. He got done in the NFC Championship against Brady. And then I really think his big hope was Eric Stokes. When Eric Stokes came in, they thought he was a first round pick. He would fill that gap. And to be honest, in his rookie season, he did play really well.
yeah, he
Because I
did.
thought him and Jair either side perfect, but again injury. And he did have a good season at the Raiders, barring their horrific record. He was one of their best players. So it just
Oh, absolutely.
it just didn't work out for him in Green Bay, which is a shame. But you've
Yeah,
got to
and I
perform.
think that sort of pick reminds me of how we also treated Micah Hyde.
Mm,
He went off to the Bills. Stokes went off to the Raiders, and both of them, I feel, well, Hyde definitely flourished, and I think that Stokes can definitely flourish over there. And it's a shame. It really
yeah.
is. But you know, 100% wish him the best because he was a very good player
Yeah.
on his day, and he was also very good for the team. He wasn't selfish, as far as I'm aware. Um, but that's a shame.
A- And
I
and
would also
and
say,
and now you've said that, it makes me wonder how Nate Hobbs will get on at San Francisco. Will he perform? But anyway, we're going off tangent a minute.
just a tad, but I'm sure we'll pick up on that in the future. What about a second position of need before we were going into the draft? And yourself?
I think for me, I think he got addressed as well. I think it was defensive line. I think the nose tackle position, which
Yeah.
again got looked at very much defensive wise, were gaps.
Hmm.
So yeah, defensive line, because we lost Kenny Clark and we lost Colby Wooden,
We
and
did.
then we had injuries to Devontae Wyatt, and I know we've got Javon Hargrave in, but he didn't have the best of
Yeah.
seasons last year with the Vikings. So it was always a need to have young blood in there to obviously help. help the line because
Yeah,
we're not going to have Micah Parsons for the first 3-4 weeks.
no, we're not.
So we need numbers and we need bodies and they need help.
We do, and with Lucas Van Ness coming off of injury as well, is
Mm.
he going to be able to start on the first couple of weeks? He is scheduled to, I
Yeah,
believe. Um,
yeah,
but is he going to be the player which we saw at the beginning of last season when we did have Michael Parsons, or is he going to be the same player as what we did see a couple of years ago when he was left, not necessarily to his own devices, but he was teamed up on quite a lot.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It does make you wonder. Will he
yeah,
come back? Yeah, it does make you wonder. But again, we won't know. It's just again.
no,
We
unfortunately.
won't know, unfortunately. But I just wish the best for them. They come back strong. They come back healthy, and they hit the ground running. In terms of finish the way you ended, because he was finishing strong. So
Yeah, he did, and you can't hope for anything more than that. The only other thing which I would have actually suspected we might have made a play on is running back.
mm,
Is
mm,
Marshawn Lloyd going to be good? He's played, I think you said earlier today in a chat or yesterday, 26 snaps. I know that he's
yeah,
only played one game in full, or at least started in one game.
yeah. It was 36, I think, including pre-season games in 2 season. It obviously seems to be a problem with him. He had, I think it was his appendix went out for one injury, but there has been
Yeah,
hamstring injuries as well. And I think if you remember, Christian Watson had a few hamstring injuries as well, which
yeah,
and they made him go to a specialist. So I'm hoping that he's either been or he's going to go again,
yeah,
because it seems like the back office and Gutekunst has a lot of faith in this player, and coming out that draft, he was highly thought of.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they are putting a lot of their eggs in this basket, because for me, I think Josh Jacobs goes next season. I think. So I think, but it depends what kind of season he has. But he's getting old,
yeah.
and third contracts don't usually happen a lot in Green Bay. So
I mean, Aaron Jones.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it for me, Chris Brooks is a good backup, is a blocking running
Yeah,
back. If you're doing a 3rd and 1 and you need another help in the back in terms of blocking, he's your running back. But
definitely.
he's not going to pull trees up, and he's not going to get a 20-yard run when you need it. And that's again my issue. Are they looking
Yeah,
at June 1st cuts? Are they looking at the first wave of training camp cuts? And because again, we need a body in there. We need a body.
we do, and I mean, we did pick up Damian Martinez. I think it was in December of last season, and then never played, even though he's
Mm,
also rumored to be quite good. The loss of Emmanuel Wilson, he was such a solid like second down running back that could just chunk play through. Not maybe as well as Chris Brooks on the single like 2, maybe 3 yards, but
mm,
he did have some versatility, and I do kind of understand a little bit why we would have got rid of him, because he would have needed to have gotten paid at some point,
yeah.
probably more than maybe what he was worth. But because he kept on coming in for Josh Jacobs whenever he was injured or whenever he needed a little bit of time to rest down, as again, he is you say this, he's 29.
Yeah,
Josh
but
Jacobs is
but
29
yeah,
and he's a quote unquote aging running back, which
yeah,
is insane to say from someone who's 37 and someone who's going to be 37 in a matter of days. They,
yeah. They don't have a long life in them running backs, and that's why when they get paid, they get paid.
mm,
Because the body can't take the battering and bruising that they go through. I think of what
yeah,
you're saying as well about Emmanuel Wilson. We had very similar running backs. There was no difference in them, and I wanted them to get a quick, fast shot through the gap running back instead
yeah.
of break it. Do you get where I'm coming from in terms of see that
I mean,
space,
it's like the
bullet,
Lions. It's
bullet,
soft
go.
knuckles.
Yeah, yeah. It's also like that. The Chicago Bears running back. I can't say his name. It
Yeah,
starts with M. Monongi or something like that.
Manon guy.
Again, I butchered it. But he
It's
was
fine. It's the Bears. They'll butcher him anyway.
exactly. But he was a different kind of running back to what they had in terms of who was their number one starter. So we needed that variation in terms of that running back room, and he may address it. I'm hoping so, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, there is an undrafted free agent, a couple of them actually, who have done some stuff. So we will definitely talk about that in a bit.
Mm,
One with a very very familiar last name. Um, so yeah,
mm.
let's actually move on to the draft. As I said, we had 6 picks. We didn't have anything in the first round because of the Michael Parsons trade. We are not going to have another first round pick next year either, unless we manage to uh, get some trade going or something like that. Do you feel like it was a true loss of a first round pick considering Michael Parsons? And let's ignore the injury.
No, no, all day. I think 100 times out of 100, you make that trade.
Mm.
100%. You look at all
Yeah,
these other first round picks, and most rookies are bad, most rookies are terrible. And I think if you said to me, Micah Parsons for 2 first rounds is still only 26, I think
yeah,
you're laughing. Some of these rookies coming out of college are 25, 24, 25, and they
yeah,
take
yeah.
years to get going. So, yeah, get Micah Parsons fit and healthy, get him going, and then I can see him being comeback player of the year next year, honestly, because he looks
I would love
hungry.
that.
He
I would
looks
absolutely love that.
he wants Caleb Williams. He didn't sack him, and I think he knows he's
Oh yeah.
on the radar. so
Like
yeah,
to the point, I actually almost want the Bears to do well, so that we've got more chances to sack him if we manage
yeah,
to get all both
yeah,
our teams going through to the playoffs. But that is,
100%.
almost self punishment because do you want more sacks on the Bears, or do you want more terrorizing of the Bears, or do you just want to see them fail?
I want all three. I want all three.
Oh, you're a glutton for punishment, Chris.
That's me.
So
That's
yeah,
me.
let's have a quick rundown of the draft. We'll go through all 6 picks very quickly, and then we've all both of us have had a chance to look over a couple of them individually, and we'll go from there. So our first pick was in round 2, number 52, Brandon Cisse, a cornerback from South Carolina. We always knew that that was going to be, or should have been, one of our first picks off the board, unless there was the quote unquote best player available. Then into round 3, we got Chris McClellan, defensive tackle from Missouri. In the fourth round pick, I would actually say this is my personal favorite. DSS, Danny or Denai Dennis Sutton from Penn State. He has got some good ties to Michael Parsons as well, both of them, I believe, being from Penn State. Then we went on to round 5 with the 153rd pick. Jaeger Burton, if you are European and you understand how German works, or Jagger Burton, as I have
Great
heard his
name.
name be
Great
said
name.
as well. Either way, love it. He's a center from Kentucky. Then we got another cornerback, Damani Jackson from Alabama in the 6th. And then finally, we used a bunch of our 7th round picks to trade up to the last pick of the 6th round to get, and I actually think that this is the best name for a kicker, Trey Smack, and he came out of Florida.
Big
So
fan.
yeah, we were massive fan. Yeah, there is a reason why I picked him to chat
Yeah.
about in a moment. So we'll take it straight to you with Brandon Cisse. Uh,
Yeah. Brandon Cisse, I don't think Gutekunst was expecting him to be there at 52. I think he
no,
thought he would be gone. So yeah, you run the card in.
mhm,
You run the card in for him. You get him in. From the notes I've picked up, cornerback South Carolina, originally of Carolina State, with 2 seasons there. In the 2 seasons, he had a total of 21 games, recorded 38 tackles and 1 interception. Moved to South Carolina, 12 games, 1 interception, 5 PBUs, 1 forced fumble, and 29 combined tackles. So obviously, he got better in his third season.
Yeah.
He's 5'11" and 3/4. He's just under 190 pounds, and he ran a 4.41 40-yard dash. So again, he's got pace.
Yeah.
He's got pace to burn, and he had a relative athletic score of 9.25. And we all know the Packers love high relative athletic scores. They want athletes. They want people who can do what other NFL players can't. And
Yeah.
so again, it ticks all the boxes. He is only 20 years old. I think he's 21 in, I think it's June, July. So
I
there's
did
so,
not
so
realize he was that young. I knew he was
yeah,
young, but blimey.
yeah. So there is so much upside to this kid. There is so
Yeah.
much upside, so much. Is he a slot? Is he a slot corner? I know he has played there in college, so he is accustomed to that. Is he a touchline corner? So again, he can be used in so many positions on that cornerback line. My question is with the room that we have at the moment, is you've got an aging Keyshawn Nixon, you've got um, an inconsistent Valentine, you've got St. Juiced. Like, will he start? Has he got a chance to start? Because I guarantee if Valentine or Nixon don't perform well in them first 2-3 weeks, this kid could be in, and it could be this player's position to keep hold of. And do you know what? I don't blame him, and I'd want him to do it because again, why not? So there is that. He also brings healthy competition. He's got St.
Yeah.
Jude, who was one of the best zonal cornerbacks in the league last year. So
Mhm.
again, this kid's coming in with high college experience. With he's played a lot of football for such a young age, and all I can see is upside. All I can see is Jonathan Gannon coming in and saying, right, this is how I play defense. I play zonal. I play this. Can you do this for me? And he's young enough to learn. From what I've read and what I've heard, is a study. He loves the books. He loves crafting his enhancing his trade. So all I can feel is he will get better and he will learn from people around him and from a good um, coaching staff as well. So I see this as a very good pick. There were other people around the area, but as soon as I saw Cisse at 52,
Yeah.
yeah, no qualms, no issues. Get me the jersey. Give me number 2. I'm having that done.
Coming from a person who 20 odd minutes ago said I'm not ever going to get another cornerback jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head on all that. The thing for me, more than anything else, actually, was his reaction to getting drafted to Green Bay. If you see the video, he showed some pure, like proper, happy, joyous emotion. Like you can't argue with that. And the way that he's had some of his press conferences already just shows that he is mature beyond his years, and that, yeah, as you said, he's a study. He is willing to learn,
Mhm.
and he is in a brilliant place to be able to say, right, I want this. I think St. Juice will be great for the team. He had one before he went over to the Chargers. He was all right, but yeah, learning at the Chargers and possibly having a similar upward trajectory, say as a Xavier McKinney, like
Amazing.
bringing some people in like that, even just for the experience alone. And yeah, he has entirely the chance to be able to take the proverbial bull by the horns and just grab it and go.
Agree.
Do I think that Nixon will be great next year? No, he's doing too much on both sides of the ball. Do I think that
Well,
Valentine will be
yeah.
good next year? He has a very strong case to be solid,
Mm.
but to be a full-time starter nowadays, I mean, who else have we got? We've got this is pre-draft. Uh, Kamal Haddon. I don't really know much about him. Not gonna lie. Shamar Bartholomew and Jalen Simpson, and all of
Yeah.
those guys have been pretty much practice squad guys who they have a place. Everyone knows that anyone who is in Green Bay has a place and they are there for a reason. The only other person who you haven't mentioned was Javon Bullard, who
Yes.
I reckon is a dark horse kind of player because he did show up last year
Yeah.
when he could.
Yeah, I kind of put him in the safety category a lot of the times because when Evan
Mm,
Williams or McKinney goes, he does
true.
fill that role up very well. Because for me, we have in top 5 safety rooms, so
Oh yeah,
easily. But but for me, when you've got, I don't know, a Pekanakua beating say like Keyshawn Nixon on the outside, he just doesn't fill you
yeah,
with much hope. And you're relying on that defensive line to get at the QB before he can release that ball to really show the weakness in our cornerback room. And that's my only thing. And I know we'll talk about this in a few weeks, who's left in free agency, and we'll see if any gaps can be filled. But right now, we
yeah,
are. I think we're still short of one cornerback, one confident, reliable cornerback who come in, take reasonable snaps, and help that room a bit more with experience. In my personal opinion,
yeah, 100%. I do have a little bit of a soft spot for Javon Bullard. He has come
hundred
in and
percent.
helped out quite a bit. Uh, but as you say, he definitely was more in the safety role rather than a true corner, especially in this league.
Yeah. Can I
So
just say though, for me, Javon Bullard entails what it is to be a Packer. The way he
yeah,
plays, the way he holds himself, the way he interviews, the way he felt when we lost against the Bears. This is everything you want
yeah,
as a Packer. So for me, great player.
yeah. I would like to see him hang around for a few more years, if not for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
That would be great. Right, we'll go on to my top favourite tonight. Dennis Sutton. How did he fall so far down? Like I know there was a couple of little issues throughout college, but as an athlete, so edge rusher, 256 pounds, 6'5", also a young guy, 22 years old. He's the athleticism. Like he's got a huge wingspan on his arms, apparently. Like one of the longest arm reaches of all of the players. He's got athleticism. He played some basketball. At 256 pounds, he was playing basketball. He has got. He reminds me again of very similar of the LVN pick from a few years back. He is a bit raw. You can't deny that. But the way that again he handles himself just on the day to day seems to be so much more mature than his years actually says. The fact that Michael Parsons immediately reached out to him and was like, "Come on, let's go to work," and that's got to fill him with some level of
Mm.
confidence. Like, just
Yeah.
just absolutely brilliant. I have lost my page where I've got all of his stats. Here we go. Um, so yeah, he where it says here. So after the Packers lost our other edge rushers, he could immediately come in. He is a quote unquote chase him down and got the length and height to get into the passing lanes, which would be a great sort of 1-2 punch, especially with the state of our cornerback room. If we can't, if we can get to the quarterback and we can make life misery for him, that means that Cisse can spend a bit more time learning and a
Mm.
bit more time amongst other players to be able to actually do something like massive. Like
Yeah.
he's such like watching some of his tape was just he the way he was able to move around a lot of other players.
Yeah.
Like with Michael, he's like the other side, almost like the 1-2 punch of Thunder and Lightning, Sonic and Knuckles, all of those sort of superlatives. Michael Parsons is a I will run through you, you best be able to stay standing. And if you don't, well, you're going to be on your ass. On the other side of that, DDS, very light, very athletic. Okay, fine, you're going to put a wall in front of me. I'll just run around it, or I'll climb over it, or I will do something else. And if you've got that level of versatility across both edges, that is a dangerous combination.
Yeah.
And then if you like with other players we've got throughout the rest of the line, like just being able to, the whole bend don't break doesn't work on us. We will break you whether you like it or not sort of feeling is what this new looking line is seeming like.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be told I'm wrong, but I feel like Jonathan Gannon coming in, do have thoughts and feelings about that, but that's by the by. I do think that we are going to have such a meaty line up front that it will free up both corners and safeties to be able to run absolute roughshod over any wide receiver or even tight end that just happens to have made a break.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right there. I think I'm going to say DVS because I can't say his full name over and over again, especially with my stammer. I can't do it. So, apart from Miles Garrett, I don't think there's probably a better player to learn off in terms of hunger, in terms of drive, in terms of production like Micah Parsons. And of course, he's coming from Penn State, like them both. Micah Parsons had some words to say at the end of last season on certain players, and them players I think have now left the building, i.e. Rashan Gary. I was always a big fan of Gary, but the way he lacked enthusiasm and drive, and to get to the QB a few times, you don't give up, and he gave up. And I think Micah Parsons has had his claws on a lot of these players, like Warren. Was it Warren Brinson? Is it Warren? And they've all been off-season training. So I do think a new breed of hungry, young players are going to come through on that defensive line with Javon Hargrave there, with Devontae Wyatt, with a Lucas Van Ness having to prove something.
Yeah, definitely.
There's going to be a lot of hunger and a lot of power and pace, and it's exciting. And DDS just brings again another variation to that defense.
Yeah, 100%. And like I really liked Rashan Gary as well. He's I'm going to be starting quoting Queen here. Started off so well, said they made the perfect pair. Because when him and Parsons were both on the field, you couldn't keep them both down. It was either one or the other. And he was on, Rashan Gary was on track for having his best year. And then after game 7 or 8, it just felt like he gave up.
Yeah.
Like he just felt like he was there. Now, we don't know what was happening behind the scenes. We don't know if there was anything like on the coaching staff that was causing him to have something bad going on. We don't know if he just didn't like the cold. It was just
I think it kind of speaks of what you said earlier about Brandon Cisse in his draft. He got really emotional, and I think it'll always stand out when Rashan Gary cried when he got drafted by the Packers, and there was that emotion there. And he's again another player who started off really well but got injured, and then he lost that burst, that intensity. And again, some players come to the end of their time with a club, a franchise, a team, and they go somewhere else and they're reborn. And again, I wish him luck, but just not against us.
No. Yeah, we'll just have a quick go over of the last of the stats for certain. Over the last 2 seasons, 84 tackles, 25 for loss, 17 sacks, 17 QB hits, 6 passes broken up, 5 forced fumbles. Like
Lovely.
you can't. That's over 2 seasons when he became full-time starter in 2024. 4.63 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
Super quick. He's
But why was he
very
passed up on?
athletic.
Why do you think he was passed up on?
So I think he was passed up on just because there was possibly potentially other better edge rushers. And by the time it came around to the third and fourth round, most of the other teams who were also desperately needing edge rushers picked. And that's the only thing that I can really think of.
Mm,
They,
yeah, crazy.
or maybe they just saw him as more of a specials teamers because, and here's the irony, when we had some kicking, not necessarily issues, but he led the FBS with 3 blocked kicks. Like you don't
Wow.
normally even get one a season, let alone 3.
Yeah.
So maybe people
Well,
saw him more as a specials teamer. And right, if
but
he
it's his
stopped
arm
blocking
span.
specials teams, great because he can learn. He can do more with it. He can have a little bit more time to be able to get into the system, to be able to get up to NFL speed, to be able to like fully integrate himself
Mm,
within the team. And I feel like that's going to happen very quickly. I don't think that he's going to be long for the specials teams.
yeah.
I genuinely don't.
He will get in the 53-man squad. He will make it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple of these picks. Actually, I think probably all of our 6 picks, because that's actually probably one of the benefits of having fewer picks.
Mm,
You're gonna get the people you know you want, and the people who you're probably gonna actually be able to put onto the team. If not, definitely the practice squad. But we'll talk about that in a moment.
mm.
Right. Let's go on to round number 3, pick 77, defensive tackle Chris McClellan.
Yeah, Chris McClellan, defensive tackle from Missouri Tigers football.
Mhm.
Originally started his college career with the Florida Gators. Um, had a great start. Played 13 games both season. 23 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and a fumble recovery in his first year. Second year, 23 tackles, zero point 0.5 sacks. And then he transferred to Missouri where he kind of flourished, to be honest. Third season, 39 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 fumble. And then 2025, he won Defensive Lineman of the Week award for 1 week, and he had 5.5 sacks. So he comes in with outrageous personal figures of 6 foot, 6'3" and 3/4, monster of a man, 313 pounds, unreal.
Yeah,
And again, he's 22 years old. He's 22 years old, and
yeah,
unfortunately, his relative athletic score isn't the best. But I think they've seen him for what he is. TJ Slayton's wasn't the best. I think they've seen him as we're going to get this guy in as a nose tackle. We're going to get him to shore up the front line. We're going to get him to not rush all the time, but hold off their offensive linemen and stop the run games, stop that inside
yeah,
run. I think that's very
definitely.
important because we have not been good at that for a long while.
It's
And
not been
and
great.
and and we traded up for him. We
Yeah,
traded with Tampa Bay, our number 84th pick and the 160th pick, and he'll be wearing the number 55.
yes, he will be.
Couple of notes I've said. A couple of notes I've said. Um, is he a nose passer? Is he a pass rusher? Um, where does he fit within this defensive line? Does he sit behind Javon Hargrave? Does he share the snaps? Does he share the snaps with Devontae Wyatt until he gets fit? He's obviously going to be central to that. So,
Yeah,
are we expecting him to start? I'm expecting him to be near enough in the starting lineup, filling them gaps in. If he's good enough, get him in. But
mm,
again, we won't know until we see him. You don't draft. We do tend to hit on third round picks a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
I think for me it was a slight reach in terms of the other players that were around, but I work I work on the railway. I don't work in in the NFL, so what do I know? But again, I trust Gutekunst. I trust that he knows what he's doing, and if he sees something in him in terms of that nose tackling position, I'm all for it. Let's stop that run. Let's stop giving up stupid first downs for 8 yards, 10 yards. Let's take some pressure off our cornerback room, and let's get this defense off the pitch as quick as possible, so we can start throwing that ball around. So yeah, Chris
Yeah.
McClellan, defensive tackle, Missouri. Get him in, get him in that nose tackle position, and get him stopping that run. That's where I am with him.
Yeah, can't really argue with that. He does somewhat remind me of, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. He was on nose tackle from about 2012 to about 2019. It was a dude who really loved anime, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. I want to say it begins with D, but I'll have to look into that. He does remind me a little bit of him.
It's not Mike Daniels. Mike Daniels.
Yes, Mike Daniels.
Mike Daniels.
That's the one. Thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, just from kind of reminds me, not like the tallest like nose tackle ever, but he was stocky and he grinded it out. And I hope that we get to that kind of similar position again, because we had a better run defense last year. Almost. It started off great, but then yeah, I don't want to use the injury excuse. I really don't. But we did have quite a few injuries, and it just didn't feel that we had decent enough depth. So I think if the first couple of seasons he's more of a rotational player, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't, because again, like I said with DDS, if he starts on the specials teams, starts learning the playbook, starts getting the reps, starts becoming part of the team ingratiated, and just learns by being involved with everything, then yeah, I can't see him not being a starter in the next couple of years.
I agree. They haven't drafted him to just sit there. They've drafted him to come in, make an effect straight away, get him in.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, stop that run.
Yeah. And again, this is where it comes down to, you have fewer picks, you have to make them count. And by doing that, it means that you are going to get the players you actually want, not just bit part players, not just, oh, they might work out. I mean, a few years ago, we had 11 picks. I think we've got 2 of those 11 picks still on the team.
Yeah.
Which is fine when you've got 11, but when you've got almost half of that, you're going to have to make them count. And
I agree.
It would be nice to see them do well. Just generally, it would be great to see them produce. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the first couple of years, but I think that they will be solid members of the team going forward.
I want them to play some meaningful snaps this season.
Yes.
Some meaningful snaps that shows that the picks were validated and there's a future for them. But we don't want them not to, because then who could we have had in that draft that would have played meaningful snaps? Because we are in Super Bowl era. We are in a Super Bowl time where our team is expected with the squad and the roster and the team we've got to start pushing on that Super Bowl door. And we need, because eventually a lot of these players we've got in now need contracts, or they'll be moved on, and then we're rebuilding again. And Micah Parsons hasn't come to Green Bay to be part of a rebuild process, because who wants to be Myles Garrett? the best defensive player, but has nothing around him.
A lot of money after he said that he didn't want to be doing that, and then all of a sudden he did. But that's by the by. I'm sure at some point we'll have a chat about other teams, like properly. All right, let's go on to because I have messed up the order ever so slightly on our drafts.
Just a teeny bit.
Well, my first one wasn't until the fourth round, so yeah. We'll get back onto order now. And the 153rd pick, uh, Jaeger or Jagger Burton, center slash guard from Kentucky. 153rd pick. I didn't actually say this before, but DDS's jersey number is going to be 51, and Burton's number is going to be 52. I did once read up on why jersey numbers are certain ones, but I feel like nowadays it's a bit more free flowing apart from in certain
Yeah.
positions. Might do a rules one when we get into the depth of the off season.
Mm.
So yeah, he is one of two offensive side of a ball picks we have made this year. We needed depth. There's nothing more than what can be said. We have got a decent enough O line if all of our starters are healthy, which is always a big if in this day and age. He is also young, 23, 6'4", 312 pounds. So he is a nice brick wall. He's got quite a lot of experience. He spent 5 years with the Wildcats. Started 32 games at guard and 15 at center. We know that on the offensive line, we do love anyone who is there to be able to be versatile. I'd like to hope that it's because we want to keep our cards close to our chest, but we'll see. Redshirted as a freshman in 22. He was named to the SEC All Freshman team when he started all 13 games. He split his starts the following year, 3 at center, 9 at right guard, before moving back to the left guard. So he has played a lot all the way across the line. And I don't think this was really picked up on enough by the professional pundits, to be honest. Decent 40-yard dash, just under 5 seconds at 312 pounds, which is like very decent in this day and age. And yeah, he had more than 1,000 pass blocking snaps in total over the last 3 years. And it was apparently a very vast improvement where he allowed 8 sacks on 426 pass blocking snaps. But of those 1,000 in the last 3 years, just 3, which is definitely moving in the right direction.
Impressive.
Very impressive. Again, another person who fell a little bit further down than we would like. But hey, if we can pick him up, why not? I don't think he's going to start this year unless something happens unless we get a few injuries like we did last year. I mean, the likes of Jordan Morgan and Aaron Banks and Sean Ryan, always going to be our key starters alongside Zach Tom and now and then Anthony Belton. So I don't think he will see much starting. I think they'll try and get him on special teams. Again, very much like DDS initially, I don't think he'll have as much of an upward trajectory as DDS could potentially have. However, saying that, we do like a late round pick on our O line, and if he is solid to has starting qualities, then that is a good problem to have if we can't start, because we can't obviously start 6 O line on a 5 O line team.
No, but you can have 6 offensive line sets. So I think for me, in terms of this pick, right now our offensive line is Jordan Morgan left tackle. Then you have next to him Aaron Banks. Then in the middle you've got Sean Ryan. Then you've got Anthony Belton, and then you've got Zach Tom. And Darren Kennard was always the backup, the injury filler. I know them 5 aren't going to be fit all season. They're going to be chopped and chained. Zach Tom can, I think, play anywhere along that line.
Yeah,
he has the skills and capability. Anthony Belton's in his 2nd season. Sean Ryan's only got the gig because Elton Jenkins got injured and now released, and he was offered a contract because, let's be honest, apart from Lyndon, is it Lyndon Bum or whoever it was, there wasn't many good centres out there to really signing free agency, so he's there. Aaron Banks,
Tyler Linderbaum was a bit.
yeah,
I'm not saying he's old, but he is getting there.
yeah. Aaron Banks' his second season he didn't have a good season last year. He was injured quite a lot, so again, he needs an improved season. And Jordan Morgan, first round pick. This is his position to lose now. Walker's gone. It's now time for you to step up. In my opinion, at some point this season, Burton will be in that starting lineup because they won't sell healthy. A lot of them will make mistakes. We all know the offensive line is all about consistency. If you have the same players, you know each person's faults and you learn the system. You know where each player is going to move and whatnot. And let's be honest, no one's offensive line stays the same from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. It doesn't happen in anything. So right now, addressing the offensive line in the draft was up there for me, either one or two.
Yeah.
If I reckon if we had more picks, he might have chucked another person like that for an extra person, maybe. But he wanted 6. Next year may be different because we have multiple compensatory picks. He may chuck more resources at that, but right now we have our front 5, and we have Kennard, we have Jagger Burton, and we have Jacob Monk. Which again, can you trust him to be anywhere near that field? I don't know. He may come back fitter, stronger. He may have a good preseason, but essentially that's our 7. So he has a very, very good chance to fit his way in that starting lineup from week 2 or 3, depending on performance and injury. And fair play to him. I think it was his partner's family. I think they are Packers fans. So I think I saw a video or something about that. So fair play. Get him in the building. He will know what it's like to be a Packer, and he will know what it's like to have fans of Packers around him. So yeah, get him again. Another smart choice by Brian. I'm gonna call him Brian.
I feel like
we're there.
Yeah, definitely. Why not? I mean, if Tom Grossi can do it, we can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll go on to our first of 2 6th-round picks, Damani Jackson. Or Dominique Jackson again.
Damani Jackson, 6th-round pick. The 201st overall pick, cornerback, Alabama Crimson Tide. And he was at USC from 2022 and 2023. Limited production in them first few seasons. Overall, in his career, he's had 2 interceptions in 46 games, so not a high lot of production from that. But again, he's got a relative athletic score of 9. He ran a 4.41 in the dash. He's 6 foot tall. He's 194 pounds. The one thing that does concern me, he missed his senior football due to a knee injury. How does that affect you? But obviously, the Packers wouldn't have drafted him if there was a problem with that, because we don't draft injured players, essentially. So he does hold the joint California state record for the 100 meters. So we have got someone very quick on our team. So that is a very, very plus to have within our room.
Yeah.
I think he will be a special teamer. I think he'll start as a special teamer. But also, as you mentioned earlier about Kamal Haddon and them other players, Bartholomew, he's got a chance to move up that pecking order. And maybe we all know injuries do happen, but it's going to take a lot of work. Pardon me, a lot of work from him, from Kubiak as well, to get this player ready to really show off them athletic qualities, to make himself ready to be a cornerback. But I didn't know much about him. I don't think I ever drafted him in any of my mock drafts. Is what it is. But again, we needed bodies in that room, and he addressed it again. So that's all I can say on this guy until I see him in one of our preseason games.
Yeah, and I do think the double dip in a cornerback was 100% the wisest of options, because it was such a position of need, and it was such a we've had such, as you said, we've had such a bad time with it over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
The consistency just hasn't been there, or the depth. We've either had a good few years of Jair, or we've had a lot of players that are, they're all right until they bugger off.
Yeah. Yeah. We
That,
need a cornerback room. Like I said earlier, the same as a safety room. Reliable.
yeah,
We know they're absolute dogs.
yeah,
So let's hope.
yeah. And I was actually just thinking that because we've got so many of these young players, we are going to continue being one of the youngest teams in the league. And we, if we have that hunger, if our players have that hunger and drive to just consistently be better, then the world's our oyster, and
Yeah.
you can't deny someone if they're putting in all of the effort that they can do, because that is how we are as a team. That's how it's always been.
Mm. But I
Everyone feels
understand
rude
that. I
about it.
understand that. But how long does that last for? Because we have been the youngest team for 2, 3, 4 years or whatever it is. How long can we have that for before this team starts to grow up and not bottle it with 20 odd points away at the Bears in the fourth quarter? Because that then is when you need experience. So
Yeah.
that comes from coaching. That comes from the senior figures in the locker room stepping up to the plate.
Hmm.
So again, how long can we last that for? And again, we like Christian Watson was a young player, Dobbs, Reed, all them players. We're not even spoke about the wide receiver room yet, which is really odd for Green Bay. But that's another
I,
week.
I think we'll
But
be
at
going
what
on to that with the
yeah,
UDFA.
but at what point are we gonna stop being this young team and start being the team again? And I think that's where I land the questions on at the moment.
Yeah. No, it's a very good question. It's a very legitimate question, and it's great having youth. As you say, when does that youth turn into experience? And
Yeah.
is that the experience of having fourth quarter meltdowns and just staying on with it, or is that experience the going against the adversity of those fourth quarter meltdowns?
Mm. But I think also Matt LaFleur said it a couple of weeks ago at the press the conference they had in Miami, where he went, a lot of players weren't happy with their roles in the squad, and then players aren't really with us anymore.
Mm,
So, and we've had fallouts from Dobbs and youth, and there's obviously going to be fallouts we're not even aware of. But again,
yeah,
that is you as well coming through, and so we'll see what
it is.
happens.
It is. But yeah, we'll go
So
on to
the last one, the most exciting one. Tell me about him.
that. I just love his name, Trace Mack. Like, first of all, if he does get the kicking position, are we going? Oh, what song are we going to use? Because there's lots of lovely songs out there with the word
Yeah,
smack in.
Akon, maybe. um,
Yeah. Maybe, well, if we get rid of Brandon McManus, maybe Smack My Bitch Up would be a better one.
maybe, yeah,
Or
maybe.
maybe not, depending. I mean, this NFL players aren't the most well known for their. Yeah, we'll just
No,
leave
but
it.
it's great draft pick. I think a lot of people weren't were
100%.
taken back by it, but I think it
Yeah.
came out a couple of days after he was drafted that I think 4 teams were looking at him in the 7th round. So
Yep.
great pick.
Uh, Apparently, there was some higher consensus picks, or there was some higher kickers on the board from their supposed talent. Um, which, if you look at the guy, not only, well, he's also another young one, 22. As kickers, I'm not going to put too much stock into weight and height. He's 6'1" and 188 pounds. So about average, I would say. He has a great leg on him. setting a Florida school record with 10 made field goals from 50 plus yards over 3 seasons. He made 10 of 13 in total from 50 plus, including 5 of 6 in the last season, with the longest of 56 yards. For his entire college career, 53 out of 64 field goals, which is 82%, which is a little bit higher than the current NFL average. Made 100 of 101 extra points, so 99%. That's essentially as good as you can get. And he only had one blocked kick, which, if it's a blocked kick, you can't always necessarily blame it on the kicker. There's a load of different moving parts. I think that definitely it will probably be down to, I'd say, Lucas Havrasik, the substitute teacher, or our new guy, Mr. Trace Mack, because Brandon McManus, he came in and was the right player at the right time, but I never saw him as being the right player for a long time.
Yeah.
He's already been he's aged pretty well for the NFL. I think that he done an amazing job in his first year when he came in. And then last year, with a couple of the injuries, I not necessarily blaming 100% on him. I don't think that Rich Bisaccia was the special teams guy who we had hoped for. Definitely feel like we took a little bit too long to move on from him. But watching that game against Chicago in the playoffs, it reminded me of watching Mason Crosby in his last season, of just, you want him to do well, you like him well enough. Well, Mason Crosby we all love, but maybe it was just time to take him out to pasture. Let him have a nice stroll around the fields, send him off on his way. I don't necessarily understand why Green Bay have had not a lot of, but we've had a bit of stick for this. Yeah, we got rid of 2 7th-round picks. Yeah, there could be some great players in the 7th round. We've seen it before across the league. But we needed someone to come in.
Yeah.
And I would not be unhappy with either Havrasik or Trace Mack. In all honesty, I don't think it's McManus's job anymore at all. He came in well for us, but he was just never going to be a long-term thing, I don't think.
It was a little sneaky position of need, if I do say so. It was one we all knew we needed, but it wasn't spoken about enough in the pre-draft build-up, in a sense.
No.
I think the new wave of kickers has started within the NFL. If you can't kick 50, you're not a kicker.
Exactly.
If you can't kick 50 comfortably, you're not a kicker. And right now, Brandon McManus is struggling at 45 yards, never mind 50.
He's struggling at 35.
Yeah, and that's the problem. How many games over the years has special teams cost us, and how many have kickers cost us by missing 3 points? I mean, last season away at Dallas, it cost us. Away at Cleveland, they cost us.
Yep.
So again, Rick Bisaccia, if I don't have to say his name again, fantastic. Should have gone last year, but this was a position of need that we needed. I think it's his job. I think it's his job to lose. You wouldn't draft him, trade up to draft him. Like we drafted that Anders Carlson a couple of years ago. He had nowhere near as good as figures as what this Smack kid has.
No.
But my only concern is he kicks in Florida. He doesn't kick.
He doesn't kick in the cold.
On a cold December night in Lambeau. Is he going to be able to do it? Is he going to be able to do it? And the only way you know is just stick him outside with a pair of shorts and a top and let him kick in the cold, because it's different from up there. From I've been in Florida, it's lovely, but in Green Bay it can be cold and terrible. so can he do it?
Oh yeah,
can he do it?
I think he can. He definitely, on a couple of his post-draft interviews, it was one of, if not the biggest question that he had against him outside of his college career. it was, how are you going to kick in the cold? And he was like, I'm just going to do it.
Fair enough.
You're like, okay, I love the confidence. You can't argue with that. And yeah, like, if we didn't trade, if we didn't get rid of a couple of picks and we still managed to get him in the 7th round, and he wasn't as good as Haversick, because Haversick has got the experience kicking in Green Bay, great. It wouldn't have made a difference. Will it be a little bit more of a contentious pick if he doesn't get the starting job? Yes, but he should end up on the practice squad at the very least of things. I think we can happily move on from McManus, even though we did give him $1 million bonus.
He's gone. He's going to be cut. And we'll just take that draft. We'll just take the hit on it, essentially.
100%. So yeah, I think it's a solid draft. As I said, it's not a sexy draft. It's not one which we're going to be saying is like, oh my god, look at all of these great players we got. We got so many good, solid, like almost, as I said, almost best player available type players. And I think that we should be able to then bring them all in, get them all on the starting 53, and be able to move from there. It's, I mean, this year's draft was a little bit questionable just across the board, but then at the same time, there didn't seem to be any true consensus. Right, this is the 2nd rounder, this is the 3rd rounder. You have some people who are saying that there's some guys who were in the 1st round who dropped all the way to the 4th. I mean, that Diego quarterback,
He's at the Ravens now, isn't he?
Yeah, he signed a 3-year deal over the Ravens, but he went undrafted, even though he was 2nd in Heisman.
That's mad. It was a very strange draft. There wasn't much in terms of talent, in terms of what they said.
Yeah.
If you won the consensus pick 20, people were saying there was no difference if you were 90. So
exactly.
But I think from a viewer's perspective, you don't know who you're going to get. So
no, you don't.
Without us speaking about it, and without these podcasts, various podcasts throughout the world, it gives us great conversational points. So bring it on.
And on the other side of that, you don't actually know if any of these draft picks are going to be any good for the first 2 years.
No. And again, Tom Brady. Who would have thought Tom Brady would have been Brock Purdy? You never know.
Exactly.
All I need is one opportunity, and then they're in.
Yep. Both a couple of great examples, and then you've also got the other side of it. Sam Darnold got brought in by the Jets, had a good couple of years-ish, and then after trips to the Panthers and the 49ers, got on the Vikings, and then, I hate to say it, but Kevin O'Connell is pretty damn good at being able to fix quarterbacks. Except for JJ, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And now he's got a new project in Kyler Murray. But yeah, and then he goes off to Seattle, helps them win a Super Bowl. Yeah, he doesn't win MVP, but he had a pretty solid year.
Yeah.
And that's, 7, nearly 8 years after he got drafted, and that's when he finally started getting good? Or is it because he was on the Jets, and the Jets are known as being a terrible team?
I think it's a bit of both.
I'd like to give him a benefit of the doubt. He's a chunky-headed dude, but he seems all right as a guy.
Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it with the Jets, so...
Aaron Rodgers can do it with the Jets. Do we even know if he's going to be starting for the Steelers? I'm not going to lie. I love the player. Hate the play. I love his game, but I hate him as a person. I'm so happy we don't have to deal with this ongoing, every year, off-season drama. Like, is he going to play for the Steelers this year? Who knows? Did that completely affect their draft? Probably.
I think that's for another week. I think that's a long conversational piece for another week.
Absolutely. So yeah,
right.
I would give this a solid like A minus B plus if you're going to grade a draft. It was a solid draft. There was nothing really. There was no truly, oh my god, amazing picks from us, because there was no truly, oh my god, amazing players. I feel in this year's draft at all, like compared to other years.
Yeah, I think the oh my god moment was Micah Parsons, and that
Yeah.
happened 6 months before the draft. So we'll just leave it as Micah Parsons was the oh my god, and then Brandon Cisse came just after him.
Oh yes, I think that is a good place to leave our normal draft. Let's go on to the undrafted, and I'm not going to lie, I don't really know too much about these guys. There's been a few things said. These are 10 that have officially been signed. We've got guard Dylan Barrett, QB Kyron Drones, who did actually come along to a day or a couple of days with Green Bay before the draft. Josh Geske, another guard. We've got another edge rusher in Majalik Kelly, safety in Mervyn Kenyon, tight end in RJ Maryland, running back of Jaden Nixon, linebacker of TJ Quinn, a guard of Dylan Wade, and I think probably out of all of those 10, wide receiver Michael Sturdivant.
Great.
Or J. Michael Sturdivant. I love that the name just alone. 6'3", 207 pounds. He has had a very good college career as far as I'm aware, and he was also on our radar as a potential pick in the draft. So getting him in the undrafted free agency is great. Now, you said earlier that we did not mention much about wide receiver position, which has been the ongoing elephant in the room for the last 3-4 years. What are your thoughts, Chris? Because I feel like you might have a couple.
I don't think we've got enough time for all my thoughts. I think what's happened this off season with Romeo Dobbs and Dante and Wicks happening was the right thing to do. There were too many bodies in that receiver room where not a lot of people were given the right amount of catches or attempts or whatever you call it. Matthew Golden should have been thrown to more times instead of Bo Melton getting thrown to, if that makes sense. We needed to shrink that receiver room down to make targets instead of we'll just spread the roll around and see what happens. Now we'll have a focus attack. We'll have a focus attack in the running game and then throw the ball to receivers that we knew, because in the past you had Devontae Adams, you had Jordan Nelson, and you had Randall Cobb. They were the main three, and then you had other people around them. For instance, gaps, but you always had a core, and that is what I think we need. With this wide receiver coming in, Michael Sturdivant, I don't think I will get his name on my jersey, but but he's again 6'3", 207 pounds, ticks all the right boxes. He had a good career. He's played a lot of football. I think this guy is going to be a lot of people's pre-season draft crush. People will be wanting him to sign, and I'll probably be one of them. But more wide receivers, more help in terms of practice squad and that. But I don't want a bit player in there. I don't want another Bo Melton. I want players who will come into that wide receiver room and make an impact. And right now we haven't had a lot of that. We've had bit players.
No.
In terms the rest of this, sorry, what was your opinion on Michael?
Oh, I was just going to say the big downside was the fact that he played over a few different schools. But I was just going to say I did see one very good saying, and that was in our wide receiver room, we have gone addition by subtraction. And I love Romeo Dobbs. Like, great player, great attitude. Like, even after the concussions and just carrying on fighting, it was great, but he was always going to be too expensive for us. He deserves a place where he could be not necessarily the number one guy, but the key number two guy. And I know that he's going to do really well.
Like a Jalen Waddle wasn't at the Dolphins.
100%. And like, I saw him going over to the Patriots or the Bills or some proper wide receiver needy team that wanted a consistent player. And like, he's still got the legs on him to be able to run down the field. I kind of goes back in circle of the Micah Hyde and Eric Stokes. Sorry, just I want to see them do well. I want to see him do well elsewhere. Duntavian Wicks, great solid player. He could have stayed. He could have gone. We got a couple of draft picks for him. It was, I don't want to say it was the right thing, but it was the right thing.
Yeah, it was. I think so. We've already paid Jaden Reed, and Christian Watson's got a contract coming, and Tucker Craft's got a contract coming. We can't pay all these players. So again,
no, they can't. They can't. And
it had to be made, and you still got Savion Williams there, who was a gadget player for us. So we've still got that. So for me, bring this UDFA rookie in, get him in, and see what he's got. And if it doesn't work out, it's no danger. I think in terms of these other UDFAs, there was 4 of them players who were still on consensus, who had draftable numbers to their names. So we've done well for that. For me, on a personal level, I'm rooting for TJ Quinn because my daughter's called Quinn. So I'm hoping he gets a place with a squad name and a squad number, so I can have another jersey. How many jerseys am I buying? But we're gonna have. I'm rooting for him, and there's a running back again, Jaden Nixon, and I think it may be down to us to look into these players a bit more. And when the pre-season starts in a bit more detail, I know the rookie orientation camp's happening now, but maybe look into these players a bit more and see what chances they've actually got at making this squad, because there could be another Nazir Stackhouse in the midst, like there was last year. So
definitely,
who knows?
Definitely.
Who knows?
And like Quinn, he's 289 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery.
I mean,
solid.
Sign him up. Sign him up. Sign him up.
There is one name on here that wasn't mentioned, and I can't remember for the life of me his first name.
What's his last name?
His last name is Jacobs. Isaiah. There we go. Isaiah Jacobs, younger brother of Josh Jacobs. I think he was brought in. He is. I think he's still doing some of the mini camp stuff. Definitely could have been more as a favor. I can't really find much from web stats for him. He's had a solid, all right career. He did run a 4.5 or something like that. For a running back, that's pretty slow. Or was it even more like higher than that? It was definitely not a fast one, but he could be a nice, stocky, short yardage kind of person, very much like AJ Dillon was, and could just see what he's got.
Streams practice squad.
Yeah, I just think that it's pretty cool of the Packers to have brought him along. It, to me, makes me feel like we have got Josh Jacobs' best interests at heart.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, after him coming in, and that brief moment where I thought we were going to have both him and Jones on the same roster, I was like, no way.
And then he got snatched away from us.
Back room ever. And then Jones went over to the Vikings, which, if rumors are to be believed, he will always want to come back. And I think maybe at the tail end of his career, he'll possibly still do a couple of years with us. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
Even if it is just like a depth, even if he is just a depth piece and practice squad guy, just more for the experience and, I mean, all honesty, the vibes.
Yeah, with the sombreros and the hats, and he loved it.
So that is actually both of our last little things of the snapshot of the UDFA and the post-draft mini camp, which by all accounts has been doing really well. Saw that Matt LaFleur is talking big about all the guys coming back from injuries, especially Tucker Craft, who I love Tucker Craft. I love me some Kraft mac and cheese. I think that with actually us dropping some wide receivers, we'll give Luke Musgrave a good chance again, because he was really solid in his rookie year. And I thought that he was possibly going to be the breakout guy until his injury, which got Tucker Craft to stand up.
It was a really bad injury as well. Really bad injury.
Yeah, it was. It was. But he's shown flashes in the last few games of last year, and he was still able to play very solidly. I don't think that we've got an issue with tight end at all. I don't know where a lot of this noise is coming from. Oh, we need more tight ends. We need more tight ends. It's like, no, we don't. We've got Tucker Craft, Luke Musgraves, Josh Weil, Isaiah Swinson, and Drake Dabney. Josh Wiley was always good to stand in for when the other two guys were not just like either on a third down or late game stuff. So he was good for that. And the other guys, practice squad guys, I don't think that we've got any issue there. The only part is we haven't got any of them signed after next year.
No, and I think that's why people have brought the tight end issue up, because Tucker Craft is going to get paid.
Yeah,
Musgrave needs a season to either get himself paid somewhere or to get himself a contract with Green Bay. So, and again, I think it's a conversation we're going to have in a few weeks about current undrafted free agents, and if there's any there for us, and maybe there could be somewhere in the free agency that may help that room. I don't know.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that we've had a nice, good little first episode here. Have you got any final thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, there's two thoughts to something that's happened over the weekend or last few days. Lucas Van Ness, his fifth-year option's been picked up, 13.8 million guaranteed. I think that's good for him. But he needs to perform and he needs to stay injury-free. That's because he started off really well, and if he stays fit and it becomes that one-on-one difference, because Michael Parsons is going to take up two defenders at all time, offensive line.
All the time.
So Lucas Van Ness has got the perfect opportunity to take advantage of one-on-one. So he needs to prove that. And again, he might be pushed along now by DDS. So we'll see what happens. And I think something I'm going to speak about a bit more next week is that Chase Claypool is now at rookie camp. I think that's quite an intriguing one, because we have previously tried to draft him and not draft him, trade for him. So I think that's quite interesting.
I think we did also try and draft him back in 2017 or 2018 or
something like that. And I think it was the Bears who beat us. The Bears who beat us. They offered more in that trade offer. So yeah, I think that's a point we will hit up again, because we might have to talk about the wide receiver room again. But they're only 2 points, just little snippets of any kind of Packers news over the past few days.
Absolutely. So next week, let's have a look what could be coming up. This is just going to be a bit of a general one. Do we really know how good a player will be after being drafted? And current players that have been drafted by Green Bay, in Green Bay, are there any likely Hall of Famers? We'll add a few other little bits in there as well, probably talk a lot more about our wide receiver room and what positions we've currently got, who's on our roster at the moment, and maybe a way too early to decide our 53-man roster. But I hope you've enjoyed listening to us chat some Green Bay Packers nonsense. Tell us if you think that we're right. Tell us if you think that we're wrong. Any engagement is good engagement at this point in time. And if you've just got any advice, please do let us know. My name is John. You can find me at John Across the Pond on Instagram. This has been Chris. You can find him at CB Across the Pond, also on Instagram. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or whatever you end up doing. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again very soon.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.